Hey, hi everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to this demo plus webinar session from Mercer Metal on our virtual campus offerings. I am Anirban, and I'm joined by my colleagues Sharad, Nachiketa, and Abhishek today to take you through this demo and a webinar on our virtual campus. So before we start, I just wanted to set the context, maybe take a couple of minutes, before I lead it on to my colleagues to take you through a more interesting demo of, what we have to show today. So it's that time of the year, right, when many of us are either planning or are busy executing our campus hiring programs. And almost all organizations today, they recognize that strategic and efficient recruitment of fresh talent, is going to be key for ensuring rapid business acceleration at the end of this pandemic, right? And that's why I think we are seeing a renewed focus on campus hiring across organizations. But as with most other processes, we are all adapting or maybe realigning our focus, if you will, for campus recruitment. Now, with that in mind, when we went and spoke to our customers, our friends and guides in the industry and in the academia as well, to dive deeper into what are those key areas of focus, we primarily heard three things from them. And I think that's gone a long way into, reshaping and repackaging what we have to offer to our customers. So I'll be happy to share, what were those insights that we actually heard from them. Number one, and I think that's pretty intuitive, is the focus on contactless processes, right? So how do you conduct remote or virtual drives successfully, seamlessly? I think that is the key focus and flavor, right, at this point in time. The second key aspect, that came to the fore was preserving candidate experience and the sanctity of the overall selection process. So attempting to make the entire process better and as integrated as possible. So the consensus of all the voices that we heard from our customers, it seemed to be that let not virtual be an excuse for suboptimal. And this was a message that came through extremely clearly to all of us when we were trying to execute campus drives or help customers with, their campus programs. So again, virtual should not be an excuse for running a suboptimal process on ground. The third and maybe the most important aspect in all of this was that while you can assess, you can select people, and I think there have been online platforms doing that. But how do you also build in an element of engagement, in this entire virtual recruitment process? So these three key primary insights or primary focus areas is what became apparent, when we spoke to a wide set of customers when we reached out to them. And with these clear themes emerging, at that point, we decided to distill all our learnings from close to about 4,000 plus campus drives that we conduct annually into creating a package that just works, in these scenarios, right? And we did this, as you see, in the slide in front of you, by breaking down the campus process into its key steps. And this is abbreviated as CASE, as you see in the slide in front of you. Connect, assess, select, and engage. Now, for each of these steps, we went about defining the key goals we help customers or organizations with. And then is when our product and tech wizards, took over. They got into their labs and built functionalities within the Metal platform to deliver on all of these steps and objectives in an integrated but seamless fashion. And we did all of this while enabling organizations to easily swap their existing process for this virtual one, right? So it's no more troublesome than a few more button clicks, to migrate to a process that's completely virtual and efficient and effective. And we also put some thought around building the right interfaces, maybe at both ends of this process, so that it seamlessly integrates with maybe an applicant tracking system that you have in-house. And in the demo today, we will try and take you through this entire end-to-end experience. We also welcome questions along the way, of course, and you can type them into the Q&A box as we go along, and we'll do our best to get to them live, or we will take them up, towards the end of this demonstration. So with that said, and without any further ado, let me first hand it over to Abhishek to talk about how we enable the connect module, for the organizations who visit campus with us.
Sure. Thank you, Anirban, and a very good afternoon to everyone. As we talk about Connect actually plays a very important role in any of the hiring processes. We are taking it through our infrastructure model, or we are talking about the virtual hirings. So first of all, I would like to discuss about how we have built our Connect model. What are the key aspects over there? So of course, when we talk about solutioning, so we always take this into consideration that it's not something which is pretty much defined on a line for which we are very comfortable for, but rather we are very focused towards achieving the outcome that our customers and client would have. So whatever we are trying to demonstrate is the key aspects, but yeah, this is completely customizable basis on the requirements and basis on the achievements that we set as our goals. So talking about our connect model, of course, the first thing is we always look forwards towards the relevant job roles for which we have to plan for the hiring process. Post that, we always used to work on the skills that would be required so that we are able to target the specific campuses along with the geos and regions that would be the best suited for them. The every effort is made towards making the efforts optimized in terms of visiting the campuses, placing people over there to get the assessments done, do the interview programs and so considering all this, the first thing that we used to do is, to calculate what kind of hiring ratio are we looking for, or maybe what was the hiring ratio that we have seen as per the market standard or as per the specific organizations. Basis on that, of course, we used to get the number of hires that, or maybe the number of target audience that we will have to approach to have the appropriate number of hires in place. Now, while we are working on the connect model, the other key aspect would be to have the complete intelligence around. So that would be that what kind of salary range is the best suited as per the market standard. What would be the best time to reach any of the campuses, just to ensure that you are able to get all the priority slots, all the premium slots which are available in the colleges. Apart from that, what is the campus scorecard basis on the streams, or maybe basis on other parameters? So that plays a vital role, because whenever we say that we are looking for hiring best coders, so we need to know that which region would be the best to reach out, what is the scorecard of that particular college in that region, and that too for a specific stream. Let's say we are targeting engineering domain, so let's say for computer engineering or for IT, what is the scorecard that the campus has for those specific streams and so. And of course, the last one would be the salary range, so that we are able to target the best colleges as per the pocket size that we have. Now, moving on to next, whenever we talk about the models, so of course, as I told, as I informed that, it can be completely customized. So what would be the benefits, right, that anyone would have while having a model or maybe a process built along with middle approach over there? So the first thing that I would like to emphasize on is the raw connect that Metal actually focuses on. So we do not have any such partner or a vendor model over there wherein we are connecting through our partners to approach any of the colleges, get the database of the colleges for candidates for a specific stream and so, but it's purely raw connect in which Metal has a partnership with all the colleges, or I would say with most of the colleges of every tier, every stream, and every degree or diploma courses that we have. Now, this actually ensures that whenever we are getting the database, it's a very valid database and the participation rate is higher. So if I may give some stats over here. So as of now, overall engagement has been somewhere around 65 to 70% in terms of the registration that we have received. Now, then the key aspect would be what kind of variety of courses and streams do we target or we have connects for. So we are not limiting ourselves only to reach out, let's say, to engineering domain or for a matter only MBAs or so, but it's a very vast reach out in terms of considering all the degree courses, whether it is technical, non-technical, uh, it's ITI, diploma, for all the management courses, whether it's a graduate or a postgraduate course, right? So the reach is very vast in terms of having different colleges, different courses, and different streams that we have altogether. Now, since it's a very raw connect done on a very real-time basis, so of course, whatever database is received is directly from the coordinators and from the placement officers, which is a very valid database, and hence, whatever interest we used to capture actually gets converted into the final hired, or whenever we say that, are we able to optimize the hiring ratio? So along with Metal, yes. So let's say if we are reaching out to a campus and we were able to assess 50 candidates for 5 roles, so we can have that kind of confidence wherein you will be able to get 50 candidate out of all the pool of assessed candidate. Whenever we talk about expertise, so yeah, with Metal you can expect wide expertise in terms of different models altogether. We have even worked to an extent wherein we can actually customize the overall process in terms of reaching out a particular college only for a particular stream basis on the scorecard of that stream of that college, right? Now, of course, the connect will only be fruitful if we are able to engage the candidates, not only in the final year when they are hunting for the jobs, but before that, so that they are well aware of that what kind of organization are we, how we are going to help them for their placement courses, what all the opportunities they would have while coming along with Metal and so that's also one of the key aspects wherein Metal used to connect at the pre-final year stage rather than only reaching out to the final year candidates who are ready to get hired and maybe open for the job opportunities that we have in the market. Now, moving on to next, you know, I would like to showcase what kind of problem statements we have solved for all our customers till now, and I like to be very much focused around the top 4 or 5 problem statements that we have heard from the market and from our customers. So, with other partners that you may have, along with Metal, you can actually solve for your specific use case and get a very specific model to solve or to achieve the goal that you're looking for. So it's not like that we have a very generic model for our campus, and that is something that we'll discuss and we'll follow for all the requirements. But yes, we can actually customize it. So let's say if we are not very interested in following our end-to-end model, but rather you will have some of the customizations inbuilt, like wherein you can provide us the campus details and we are only supposed to act on your behalf, get the things done, ensure whatever infrastructure and whatever logistics are required are in place. We are getting the assessments done. Executions are being made on customers' behalf by Metal team. Whatever expertise is required is being deployed by Metal team itself. So of course, we can actually customize the entire model as per the use case. The key aspect over here again would be the campus intelligence. So, you need to be very much aware of that whenever we are trying to build a process or a model for any specific reach out for any of the job roles that we have, what would be the best or which would be the best college to reach out. So for that, of course, the intelligence are very much required in terms of what is the scorecard of that particular college, what would be the best time to reach, what is the salary packages which are being offered in the market, and what the college actually support as an average salary package for the companies who are coming in for the placement drives and so. Apart from that, job roles. So of course, every job role has a very unique requirement. So which would be the best campus to actually reach out for your specific job role, right? It can't be every time that if we are looking for a developer role. So if any college is very good in producing, let's say, good CS or IT engineers, that would be the best one. But rather, we can actually give you the entire insight that what kind of hirings were done for that particular college in the last years, and what kind of stickness was there, how the colleges have performed for different organization in terms of their assessment and in their interviews and so all those kind of insights you can expect coming along with the campus intelligence that metal would have. Then comes, of course, the latest trend that we have is for diversity hiring. We have done many successful events in past couple of years on the diversity hiring part, and I would proudly say that we have a pool of more than couple of million candidates over here, wherein we can get all the diversity hirings for freshers as well as for laterals done along with metal. So that kind of database, that kind of connect metal has. Then, of course, as I told you, that we are not limiting ourselves only to only to specific degree courses or maybe only to specific graduate or postgraduate domains, but rather we have a vast approach in terms of having all kind of diploma, ITI, PGD, postgraduate diploma, I mean to say, along with the graduate and postgraduate courses that we are targeting for. Along with that, we are also helping all the organization for their internship hiring. And of course, the best part would be with metal, you can be very sure of getting the premium and the priority slots from all the tier 1, tier 2 colleges that you are looking for, which is very hard to get in these days, frankly. And moving on to next, I would like to emphasize on the virtual hiring solution and how it is going to be benefit in the current scenario. So as I have told you that, what kind of model we are following in terms of connect, reaching out to candidates, reaching out to EPOs, reaching out to all the colleges that we have with metal. You'll get the access to pan India colleges, and that too virtually. So there's no need to visit the college. With all the tools available, you can actually get connected to all the colleges and their respective coordinators online. You'll be able to get sessions along with the email campaigns or maybe email connects which are available. You can actually reach them out virtually for all the problem statements that you would like to discuss and get a solution built for. Apart from that, for the test takers, if I may say, whatever infrastructure and logistics are required are purely online. It's just a browser-based platform that you need to access, for which you need a computer system. Now, considering the sanctity and integrity of the examination, so Metal has the proctoring solution along with us. So you can actually be very much assured about the malpractices, which can be easily caught by using the proctoring feature that we have. For test takers, we have a 24/7 support model. So any test taker facing any of the issues, technical, non-technical, in terms of some sort of clarity on the processes, anything, they can actually reach out to our dedicated helpline and will get all the support that they expect for. So uh, this is all, I guess, in terms of the connect model. Uh,
Sure.
I'll like to, yeah, I'd like to pass on to Anirban again. And
Great, and thanks, Abhishek, for this. And in fact, if I have to summarize, or maybe emphasize on a takeaway, for the audience from what you talked about Connect, I feel that the Connect module what we should understand has different connotations for different organizations, right? And we recognize the need for this customized approach. So, just to take maybe certain examples to drive home the point. So when we looked at the Connect module for one of the largest German multinationals, who wanted to run an Indian or a campus drive in India, the mandate was that can you get me registrations from a college, which is relevant to a particular stream only. So which meant if we had to drive registrations for mechanical engineering, there was a set of colleges. And if it was electrical, there was a completely different set of colleges. So the Connect module, had to be customized, for them. When we looked at some of the top IT services companies in India who visit no less than maybe a couple of hundred campuses each, the Connect module also included campus coordination for both their pre as well as the post placement programs. And there are also organizations, who believe that talent is not concentrated only in tier 1 or tier 2 cities, right? So as a part of the Connect program, we have built capability to be able to go beyond the tier 1 and the tier 2 cities in India and to give you access to a larger talent pool to tap from. So these are all nuances within the Connect module, which can be customized as relevant for a particular organization. Now, having covered maybe the Connect module in some detail, uh, the two key next steps, which involve or which are a part of this entire case framework, is the actual assessment and the selection process. And this is where we bring in our expertise to create the right assessments depending on the skills that you actually want to test. And these may range from a simple aptitude to maybe complex real life coding skills, to running business simulations or even behavioral assessments. This assessment delivery then actually happens through a remote proctored or an invigilated platform, I think, which was briefly touched upon by Abhishek as well. And this is what ensures credibility and sanctity of the overall process. And then the interviewer or the assessor is finally led on to a virtual interview platform or an interface to complete the selection process. Now, to talk more about these two key modules within the case framework, I would like to request my colleague Nachiketa to take you through maybe a far more detailed narration around these two key pillars of the case framework. So Nachiketa, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Anirban, for that introduction and leading us into the assess and the select process for the campuses. I'd just like to touch upon the detailed part of how we go about it. Once we have decided what campuses to visit, which Abhishek has described to you, now comes the process wherein we select the best talent out of the pool that has been made available to us. And the key part to this process and keeping it optimal is to find structure to this process so that everybody is graded on the same scale and we extract the best out of the talent that is available to us while not spending too much time on the same process and getting automated AI tools in order to assist us. So the way we go about doing this is, at first we look at the job role that you have. Our team helps you to decide a competency framework, which is essentially saying that we bring structure to the hiring process in terms of deciding what are the competencies that we'd like in the candidates who we are going to hire and at what level. So we set scales for all of these, and post that we upload the applicant's information. Once this framework is decided, the assessments are created and administered to the students. Like Anirban described, then they go through the interviewing process and there is a dashboard which is available for you to manage all of this. So the key part here is how Metal curates these assessments so that the candidate who you're trying to hire has the skills that they will be requiring on the job. So giving you a brief, view over what is it that we, this is just a sample of what we assess as part of assessments and what are the skills that should be assessed via an interview, because both are different. There are some questions that obviously you can't answer while, giving a pen and paper tests. You need to judge the person's personality. You need to understand how they handle stress, etc. So we understand what are their behavioral skills using learning agility. Are these candidates, quick at learning what we are going to teach them? Do they have basic analytical abilities? And then comes in their skills at a domain. So for example, that might be coding, it might be sales, it might be any other department that you'd like to hire for. All of these can get built in along with one assessment, or if you'd like to have a multiple set of assessments which deeply test these skills, all of that is possible, configurable along with industry knowledge as well. So whichever industry that you belong to, Metal has a solution for you. So this is an example of a framework that you can apply in assessments. This is another example that you could configure for interviews. So once you have decided that my competency framework for the job role that I'm hiring has been set, post that, we create the tools for you for our assessments. You could add personality, behavior, cognitive, and like Anirban already mentioned, there's IT domains, there are non-IT domains. We have simulators, which test for example, a case study simulator for non-IT students to test their decision-making ability, and IT simulators to check their coding skills as well. So using these building blocks, we can curate for you the best assessment possible for your job role. And this is done in a secure manner. We use AI, like Anirban and Abhishek have already mentioned to you. There is no cheating that is possible, and these tests are secure and they are reliable. We give you enough and more methods to check if the candidate is cheating. We check their video feed, their audio feed, their screen feed, and all of this data is processed by our AI engine, and we give you back something called a credibility index, which at a click of a button will tell you that has someone cheated or not. And all the backend data and their files are available for an auditable purpose, that if they cheat and a student sort of comes back and says I haven't, you have all the data to back you up and say that did you cheat, did you not cheat. So once that has happened, the next stage is interviews. Given the current COVID scenario, we are trying to help all our customers to keep the process the same without compromising in quality. So had you gone to a campus, you would have done interviews, spoken to clients. We are facilitating exactly that process for you online, keeping in mind the excellence that is required and all skills getting measured without any kind of biases. Hence the structured hiring process. So pre-recorded interviews help you to send out a link to to candidates, which will simply ask them the same question that you were going to ask everyone. You can look at the responses, filter out the ones that you like, and post that all the applicants that have been screened can then be called for a selection, and an interview can be conducted live. And in case you're hiring for a job role which requires IT skills, there is a coding simulator available where the interviewer and the interviewee can code together, which is like code pair. A screen will appear in front of you similar to this after scheduling. I'll show you a live demo as well. So you can chat with the applicant, you can code with them, you can score them as well on structured competencies that have been decided, make your notes. This will also help you gather feedback and share internally, which is structured. So for example, a bunch of interviewers may not be available at the same time. So you can record this data and share it with the rest of your team members who are next going to interview this candidate. So what you also have is, the ability to make diagrams and understand, the candidate can explain. So instead of a whiteboard being available to you in the physical world, we've given you a tool where you can draw diagrams and use this as a whiteboard. Also as a whiteboard, you can have communication tools where you explain the problem to them. And this is all two-way communication where the candidate is able to write and so are you. So you'll also be having a dashboard, which will give the recruiter and the hiring manager all the information that they need. And from here, what I'll do is I'll jump quickly into a demo, which will show you exactly all of this online. So like I explained to you, we can make all kinds of tests that suit your needs for courses, for levels, for the kind of campus that you're going to and the kind of assessment that you would like to conduct. Let me show you a quick sample of what the interface looks like in case you give a coding challenge to the students. So we first familiarize the student with what the interface is, since it will be new to a lot of them. Once they have familiarized themselves, they can see the question, the caselet or the problem that they have been given. Here they can write their code, hit compile, and a report will get generated. They'll be able to see, run their test cases as well. Once the candidate finishes the test, all this data is recorded. How they have approached this coding problem would also be available to the hiring manager in order to understand how the student codes, what is their approach to a problem, which is actually more important rather than arriving at just the right answer. So the student may have arrived at the right answer, but the coding method that they used was incorrect, which is what an interviewer likes to see, that what is the approach to coding. Both will be made available to you in a report. So let's say that we are able to go through this process. We've set up what kind of test you'd like, what kind of coding problems you'd like to give, what kind of case studies need to get solved. Post that, you can create a job role on this dashboard, wherein we help you to add what is going to get measured. So there is an old adage, available, which our seniors have taught us: whatever gets measured gets done. So we measure the correct competencies so that we make the correct hire. Once these are input, we define what the hiring process will be. So for example, you may say that and this is exactly a replication of what we do in our real offline world as well. We give them a screening exam, filter out the candidates that we do not desire, and then we make a start with the selection round. So this is the assess and this is the select part of the process. And then you move up levels depending on how many interviews you'd like to set up. At each interview, you can set that, what is the structured grading process going to be for this interviewer. And you can very easily schedule these interviews at a click of a button. There is bulk interview setups available. You can use Excels, and you have simple features also available. I have one interview scheduled. So these are productivity tools for HR that are available. You can easily coordinate the interviews that you have set up. You can remind candidates, and you can even remind the recruiters to appear on time. And recruiters get a calendar alert, and so do the applicants. So once this interview has been set up, it has been conducted, the kind of screens that you will have available would look something like this. Sorry about that. Yeah, coming to this. So this is the hiring funnel. Once the interviews are conducted, you've decided your ranges. You can use these hiring funnels to gather information as well. It will give you insight that, for example, if say 100 students started out with the process, what does your hiring funnel look like at the end of it? This intelligence you can use next time round as well to plan that which campuses to visit, where was your hiring ratio the best, and then concentrate all your energies on the campuses which give you the best conversion. So let me just show this to you live as well. It's a pretty simple dashboard. Say I were hiring for a software developer. Let me just improve the view a bit. So I'd added, say 37 candidates. I've completed one. So these interactive charts give you status at any point in time. And the applicant's progress is also visible to you. So you have an aggregate view and you have a base level micro view as well. You have very simple integrated reports available. What you can see here is, so for round one, which was the test, this candidate, for example, got 6 out of 47. The hiring manager level 1 interview is yet to happen. So given the COVID scenario, there are times when, a different hiring manager is available than the first hiring manager. So there is flexibility in the system as to how you'd like to approach this and, get your work done faster. So you'll have scores available at each round that you had taken for the competencies that you have decided. These notes are available. Your HR can make their notes available as well. And you can choose to share or not share depending on permissions that you set up. And you can put in, take simple hiring decisions here itself. So for example, this guy is really good. I want to roll out an offer. What this will do is, if on your dashboard, you will get refreshed status for this applicant. So for example, here, I can quickly check how many people I have rejected. I go back, how many people are currently on hold, and use these applicants in order to conduct the next step on them. So this process effectively gives you all the data in one place for tests and assessment and interviews. Anirban, I'd like to hand the mic back to you, unless there is something else also that you'd like me to explain.
So I think, that gives, I think, the audience a fair view of how the entire process of assess and select is integrated in a single platform. And I think that that's the beauty of this entire process of the virtual campus, overall process, the case framework that we are trying to take live. I just wanted to touch upon a couple of points. I was looking at the Q&A box, and I think there were some questions around, how do we test for domain, for example? How do we test for maybe different kinds of engineering streams like mechanical or, electrical and others? So maybe before we move on to the next module, just wanted to, comment on some of these and then understand that how do we engage candidates at the end of the day. So Metal as a platform, so whatever you see under assess and select, which Nachiketa just showcased, uh, the actual test that is developed has an extremely scientific underpinning and depends on frameworks like Bloom's taxonomy and others, wherein we look at questions which can assess not only knowledge but also skills in candidates. So increasingly, in our experience of working with close to about 4,000 customers globally and, conducting, immense number of campus drives, we have actually seen the focus in the industry move from pure play knowledge-based assessments to assessments that actually test for skills, they test for agility and future learning, right? So keeping that shift in mind, we have constantly augmented our question banks as well. So today, when someone creates a test on Metal or goes to campus with Metal, you will have access to no less than close to about 2 million question items, which are already available in the question bank. That covers most domain areas, right from your HR to finance to accounting. So you can conduct domain specific tests at multiple levels. And you can also choose multiple engineering streams or any other areas where you would want a functional or a domain assessment to come in. So that expertise is already available in-house at Metal. We work with industry-leading SMEs to constantly upgrade that question bank as we progress. And the other part, where we also focus and, just elaborating on the thought about moving from knowledge to skill-based assessments is the emphasis on simulators, on real life case studies, which actually test for application skills. So the way Nachiketa showcased, the coding simulator, for all of you to come and write code and maybe get assessed on the quality of code, we provide similar simulators, for business scenarios, for example, for spoken English, for written English. So you can come and speak on the computer, you can come and write an essay in English, and all of that gets automatically evaluated. So that's an integral part of the assess process, as we move on. So I hope that that answers, some of the queries around how we build assessments to test for those specific skills. And, just on that thought, for example, when you look at learning agility, I think, we briefly touched upon it. We are seeing more and more campus assessments incorporating a module to test for learning agility and not only focus on the knowledge that a candidate has on domain or maybe aptitude. And the reason for that is, organizations increasingly, starting from large Indian conglomerates to very large IT organizations globally, they are recognizing the importance of the ability to learn or pick up new skills beyond the already existing skills in candidates. And that's why the modules of like learning agility are gaining increased adoption in the campus hiring processes.
Anirban, I'd just like to step in and answer a few questions that I can see on the screen. They are fairly common questions. So one common question is, what are the languages that we offer? There are two answers to that. One, there are coding languages. We cover all the latest skills that are available. Our marketing team will send you a list of these. In case you have some specific languages that you'd like us to answer the question on, please leave the question in the chat box. We'll tell you exactly what coding languages we have. The other question could be around the international questions that we are getting from different countries. Yes, we do have competency frameworks which are available for outside India, like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and other subcontinents of India. And we also support this tool that we have in multilingual languages. So candidates can take tests in languages other than English. We have multiple languages available on the platform. And similarly, the tool HireTrack and the interviewing tool is also available in different languages, say Spanish or French or any other country which you'd like to approach in a different language. So the tests as well as the interviews and the platform is available in coding languages as well as the geographical languages, if that was your question. The other question is from Pooja Punjabi. She says that companies have their own HRIS portal and these steps are conducted there. Can there be an integration? Yes, absolutely possible. We have APIs available of all the products that we have shown you for tests and interviews. So you can have a cross-linking of candidates coming in from your HRIS portal, getting assessed and selected on a Metal's platform, and this information getting relayed back to your platform. So at all times, you will have data sanctity available that, say, for example, you sent 100 students to Metal to get assessed. How many of those got selected, and you'll get reverts back. And customized flows can also get built depending on, how you'd like to approach your hiring problems. So yeah, I think Anirban, I've answered the questions that were common. You can take it from here.
Sure. Thanks, Nachiketa. And I believe, there are a few more questions. I see one around branding as well, and we will cover that in a couple of parts. But, let me lead you to a more interesting and maybe the last module of the case framework, which is the engage module. And this is where, we found out that beyond connecting and assessing and selecting of candidates, one key need that we always come across is how do I keep the talent pool engaged? How do I ensure that they engage with my brand, receive my brand messaging, and then, prefer my brand over the others. And there are several ways of doing that. And one way, which we want to go about discussing in a bit more detail is around conducting, hackathons or ideathons or contests, as the case may be, to keep the talent pool engaged. In fact, we have helped some of the largest internet and software brands globally, to conduct their flagship diversity hackathons or even B-school engagements, when it comes to that. So I was seeing some questions around, how do I engage and hire management trainees, from MBA institutes. One good way, can be that, we conduct a business-oriented hackathon where they have to solve business challenges, and it can be an individual or a group activity, and you get engagement, you get recruitment, and you actually hire people based on competencies that are important, for a business role. But to talk more about that, I would want to lead you on to an expert, Sharad, who is our Chief Product Officer, to take you through some of the nuances of the hackathon platform and how that integrates seamlessly with this entire, virtual campus hiring, process that we have built. So Sharad, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Anirban. A very warm good afternoon to everybody. Thanks for joining us on this webinar. And to take you to the last leg of this, which is Engage, I would like to talk about our platform to conduct hackathons, which we call as Hexathon platform. And before I deep dive into hackathon and what is there on the offer and what are the types of hackathons we conduct, I would like to address a very specific point, and which is very pertinent these days as to the growing popularity of hackathons itself, right? So what we have observed in our experience of this industry for the last couple of years is that while traditional assessments are something that companies generally prefer to go for, but more and more companies are now resorting to a more engaging platform, which is hackathons. And now hackathons, essentially, they are various types of hackathons. There are hackathons to hire from campuses, from tech, from B schools. There are innovation hackathons, there are diversity hackathons, there are branding hackathons, so on and so forth, right? And basically it is an online event where a number of people, they group together, they team together, and then they strive to achieve a common goal. This basically results in a very high engagement. This is essentially a teamwork. It is a very, very motivating factor for teams to kind of work towards achieving a common goal, at the end of which there are some sort of rewards and recognition. And now if you just step back for a moment and then draw an analogy of this hackathon, which is usually spread over a couple of days or weeks, we can see a very interesting parallel that isn't that what the hires that we pick up from campus are supposed to do in the real work life scenario when they join your company? You know, they are put in teams, they are given common objectives, and once they once they reach that particular objective or achieve that particular objective, then there are rewards and recognition to be given to them. So this kind of brings in that feeling, and that is why at Metal and in general industry, we have seen that hackathons have been picking up interest from various different facets, be it hiring, be it diversity, be it branding, so on and so forth. Now, moving ahead, how Metal can help you in conducting a hackathon. Since we are talking about virtual campuses here, I'll try and focus over there. But the process pretty much remains the same, whether it is a hiring hackathon or whether it is a innovation or a engagement hackathon. So the first step where we help you is essentially the conceptualization of a hackathon event. So we have dedicated experts who are consultants to our clients who would basically engage with you at a one-on-one level, trying to understand the exact requirement, which could, what we have seen is that different companies have different sort of requirements for the similar kind of event, right? So there is a company which, while going for campus, would want to go very big on branding, etc. They would want to target all the campuses across the country or maybe different countries. But there are other companies who have a very specific set of campuses in mind, right? So to kind of facilitate this conceptualization, we have experts who would engage with you and they'll basically help you trying to define or design the event. Once this step is done, we move on to the second step, which is essentially configuring our hackathon platform basis the conceptualization done on step one. In my demo, I would also cover how easily it is to configure our platform. The third step, and this is something Vijay had touched upon earlier, is essentially reach out to the participants. So like I mentioned, sometimes the reach out is done by the companies themselves, but most of the times they rely on Metal. And like Anirban and Abhishek covered earlier, we have a huge network of campuses in India and abroad where we have very good relationships with their TPOs. So we can actually focus on the exact type of campus with the exact pedigree of students that you would want for your event. We also do marketing reach out through social media, etc. And this again is part of the designing of this hackathon or the event, which is done in the step one. Once this is done, then we actually conduct the event. And for conducting this event, we again have all sorts of support already in place. So we have our tech supports, we have our consultants who are basically talking to you at every step of the hackathon. Many times what we have seen is that basis how different rounds are coming along, clients may decide to change certain nuances of the following rounds. So for that, our consultants, our tech support, everybody is available for you around the clock for helping you out with that. And lastly, once the event has been successfully conducted, we basically then also provide you with very powerful analytics basis the event. Now, these are the analytics which helps you in kind of taking a bird's eye view of what exactly happened, what type of participants came in, what was the gender ratio, what were the various branches that people came from, etc., etc. So I'll be covering all this in my demo very quickly. I think just to add one final point here, the rest of the points I think my colleagues have already covered, that we already have capability to kind of conduct any sorts of hackathons. These could be coding, very, very highly technical hackathons, wherein we give problems which are based on AI and ML, and people are actually requested to train their data model and then basically try to solve a problem, which may be a real world problem that your company is facing at the moment. At the same time, we also help you conduct ideathons. So, and this ideathon is a concept which is catching up very fast, and it is something which is very democratic, so to speak. That it is not only limited to technical coders, but anybody can have a great idea about solving the pollution problem, solving maybe supporting people in COVID, so on and so forth. And this is also something that our platform supports very nicely. And the key to all this is obviously the seamless candidate experience, right? So if the candidate experience is not great, then the engagement, starts faltering from there. But Metal scores very high on the candidate experience. And I'll very quickly, take you to a live hackathon that is already there on our platform. This is a global challenge. It is being done across 15 countries today. So it covers 3 continents, about 22 markets, and then we would basically be selecting one global champion out of this. Now, what you're looking at now is a microsite which has been created specifically for this event, for this client by Metal, right? So this is a level of customization right from the URL to, of course, the microsite. And this could be very engaging from the word go, because a company can choose to showcase not only about why to participate in this particular hackathon, what are the monies or what are the prizes to be won, but also to talk about the company's culture, the kind of challenging work environment you may have, the kind of projects that you may be working on, so on and so forth. From a candidate standpoint, candidate can simply click on register now, and they basically are redirected to our platform. And again, like I mentioned, this is the landing page for a particular hackathon, which again is highly customizable. This page contains all the details of a particular event, right from the name, the duration of the event, what are the prizes that are to be won, what are the team compositions, etc., that are allowed. And these tabs are essentially, again, a sort of a window into this, this event and what all is entailed in this event. From how to participate, why participate, FAQ regarding it. You can also embed your videos, the culture part that I was talking about. And you can also have ongoing discussions, because we enable Slack channels for a particular hackathon as well. So you can have all the teams collaborating on this platform and then going about solving their issues. Just like I said in the beginning, how you do on a typical workday scenario, right? For a candidate to simply register, you can click here. The participant can fill in their details about their names, university, study. All of this again is very configurable. You can choose to collect more data here or less data, as the case may be. Once the candidate has entered their details, they can basically just go ahead and enter their information, and they can proceed. Sorry. And they can then choose to create a team. Now, for the team creation, they can specify a particular team name, and then they can invite their teammates via the email ID, etc. So this is the candidate flow at a very high level. Of course, once we engage with you to understand your requirements, I think we can deep dive into it. But the last part of it, which I want to cover, is that this platform is also open to you to actually customize your event, right? So what you just saw on the candidate side, this is the admin side of that same event, you can say. And here is how you can create an event. You can specify all the fields that you require: event location, name, URL, organization name, start time, end time. You can upload your banners, you can upload the logos. So it is pretty much 100% customizable. The event page can have various tabs. These are the tabs that you were seeing horizontally earlier. So you can go on adding more tabs out here. You can define the registration page. You can put in all the details out there. You can then define how many stages there are. whether a stage requires a particular assessment to be given, or it is a manual evaluation stage wherein you can choose judges who would be basically judging a particular event or a submission. And similarly, you can embed links as to some sort of a reference material, etc. You can also configure the invitation emails that are being sent to the client or the candidate, sorry, right from again the icon to pretty much everything which is there. And last but not the least, you can also customize a leaderboard. So this leaderboard would be a real-time leaderboard which is available to candidates throughout the event. And this basically, gets them motivated to see that, after round one, maybe my team was not in the top 10, but after round two, I've broken into top 5, so on and so forth. So this is how this whole hackathon event actually brings in a lot of engagement, a lot of excitement and solutions at the end of the day. The last bit which I would like to cover is the post event analytics. And after the event, this is a very simplistic dashboard that we have provided you. But depending upon what sort of hackathon is there and what are the final outcomes that the client really wants to achieve with this hackathon, we can customize this whole dashboard to be able to tell you what was the participation rate, how many ideas were generated, what was the gender ratio, which demographic performed very well, which campuses participated, which was the highest selecting branch, so on and so forth. So depending upon whether it is a tech hackathon or a business hackathon or a diversity hackathon, this dashboard analytics can be configured to the T as per your needs. So this is at a very high level how we use hackathons and how we help our clients achieve their business objectives. Anirban, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Sharad. And I think we are at the fag end, of the webinar. But we have tried to answer many of the queries that were typed into the chat box and in the Q&A box. So just wanted to address maybe one point before we move on to integrating this entire learning that we have had over the last 1 hour. So one is, there were some questions around branding, and as you can see, the engage part of it, especially building a hackathon, an ideathon platform with a custom microsite that you might want to use for messaging out to candidates is one of the most effective ways of maybe branding, in campuses that you want to target. Secondly, the entire look and feel, the experience of using a metal assessment end to end can be customized, to reflect the organization's look and feel, in terms of brand engagement, in terms of UX. It can be seamless as if somebody is interacting with your organization and it's not a third party or a platform different from your organization that candidates are using. So I think these are ways, and especially if there are targeted branding events that you would want to conduct in campuses, Abhishek and team at different points, they enable you, with on-ground support, with coordination, to be able to go and conduct these, branding event in campuses. So I think that's maybe a short answer to the entire branding side of things, which we enable. So just, for, a quick summary. So maybe wanted to re-emphasize the entire model, split on connect, assess, select, and engage. And what we also enable you, at the end of the day, because we know that assessment and selection are the cornerstones of the process. We cannot live without these, but depending on an organization's requirement, you can choose to either add the connect module or add the engage module, or even shuffle them in a different order to create your own custom virtual hiring process. So that's where, our team will interact with you, our experts will interact with you to create a custom virtual hiring process for your organization, depending on the sequence and the number of steps that you would want to conduct out of this entire 4-step process. And we look forward to hearing more questions from you. And if there's any more clarifications, please feel free to write to us. I think there was a email ID flashing on the screen, which Ankur was just showing. You could write to us, to that email. We would be happy to take your questions and carry on this discussion. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining this session. And we look forward to hear from you and answer any queries that you might have around this process. Thank you all very much. Thank you for joining.